What we're trying to do is to tackle the issue that around half the people who go to prison reoffend and come back. And actually, for those who have short sentences, who get no support at all from the probation service at the moment, the percentage is even higher. And if we keep having a situation where people go to prison, go out back on the same streets they came from in the first place, reoffend, go back to prison, you just have a cycle of offending that does none of us any favours, that fails to help those people turn their lives around. And what I want to do is to bring to bear on that challenge the expertise that exists in the private sector, the voluntary sector, and particularly individuals. And if you go to those charities, you'll find ex-offenders gone straight who are now working with current offenders to try and help them turn their lives around. And that can make a really big difference. It's the one group of people who those offenders will really listen to.
So there'll be somebody at the gate for people who've completed their sentence to help set them on the straight and narrow. The difficulty here is that there were 87,000 prisoners released between July 2011 and the end of June 2012. That's, if you're going to have one for every prisoner who's released, that's a lot of mentors you've got to find.
Well, it's a big challenge. I mean, of course, each mentor I would expect to look after more than one person. But we are spending £1 billion a year at the moment on trying to look after offenders in the community, and we've still got this really high reoffending rate. So we have to do things differently. And it's just tackling that core problem, which is we've got people walking out of prison who will say to you very openly they don't know how to get their lives back together. They fear whether they can get a job. They're not sure how to get housing sorted out for themselves. And so often they just go back to where they came from, back to the same streets, back to the same people, and they reoffend all over again. And what we're trying to do is to put in place alongside them the support to get their lives back together again.
How long would these mentors stay then with the prisoners who are released, and what sort of vetting procedure would they go through?
Well, in terms of the amount of time, we're provisionally looking for a period of around a year. That's not been finalised, but it's got to be more than a few weeks. In terms of vetting, it's very much down to the organisations we're working with, who'll be paid by results, paid on the basis that we won't be giving them the reward they expect to earn from us unless they bring down the reoffending rate. And of course there's got to be one or two safeguards in place, but what we mustn't do is start to say Criminal Records Bureau checks means we can't have former offenders working with current offenders. Actually the opposite's the case. If you go and look at the voluntary sector at the moment, there are some really good examples of former gang members who are mentoring young gang members to try and encourage them not to rejoin gangs when they leave prison. It can make a real difference.
Yeah, and if you're paying by results, then presumably the expense would not be that high.
Well, what we're doing is saying to the organisations, whether it's private organisations, whether it's charities backed by social investment bonds, you put your money on the table up front to demonstrate your commitment to turning the lives of these people around. We will pay you for the success you achieve. So if you bring down the reoffending rate, then we'll pay you for doing the job. That way, we encourage real excellence, innovation. They look for the best ways of doing it, the ways in which you can really help make a difference. And that's really important. We've got to stop just paying taxpayers' money for a service. We've got to start paying for outcomes, for results instead.